We are gathered here today to share some of my thoughts and, dare I say, experiences upon this book. Meditations on the Sinister Tradition of Order of Nine Angles, edited by Chetien Sauvage. Introduction by Chetien Sauvage. The origins of sorcery seem historically sound enough. In the introduction, Chetien Sauvage claims to revive a Crusades era Brahmwaitha tradition. Many forget that heathen and pagan were terms that had little to do with religion. Evil beings that transcend this realm proliferated according to the Joris Earl Human in traditional Satanism, according to him, according to J.E.H. in traditional Satanism. The septenary system and others are to be adapted and put to revision. The Grimoire of Baphomet. Perhaps a tradition, perhaps an interpretation of Baphomet that's a little bit different than what I'm, than I have said for decades. But the Grimoire of Baphomet opens with a woman shedding the face of a man. Maybe not decades. Like, okay, I guess like more than a decade, but not decades, because it's not quite 20 years, is it? The Grimoire of Baphomet opens with a woman shedding the face of a man. This image is their Baphomet mother, a female jinn who feed off men. So, vampires, right? Many species of spiritual beings may be recalled among music, drugs, sex, and a tetrahedron. The ONA certainly like their four-sided crystals, don't they? Jupiter and Saturn will appear near the waning moon in the Algol winter solstice and the Beh autumnal equinox nexians. Upon such as oak, the congregation works towards causing possession in the sinister rite of the nine angles. On the 308 squares, planets and stars are represented by 90 quartz tetrahedrons. The rite of the star game is a map that serves for establishing one's own patterns. For a causal existence, 3 to 9 sacrifices are made with Precambrian rock and directing. Some exist outside our cause, and others are only without such causal being, but nature is living. We are to know about the transcendent and what we are as beings. Black magic is increasingly preferred as a way of knowing Are they immoral? Are just beings of a different morality? Satan refuses to be subject to all divinity. There is much more to demons than such names. Codus Saurus, Black Book of Satan. Codex Saurus, Black Book of Satan 1, 2, Caletha of Christos, Beast, and 3 opens with the umbrella frame, 7 pulls down. Atazoth is upon the starting point of this grimoire and is thought to burn down into a temple. Vindex are the satanic messiah, is the goal of their satanic practices. How many of the 21 satanic points are only satanic? Does Satanism become a way of life upon forces rather than mere empty discourses? Unlike the satanic temple, privacy of ritual should be important to them. Should be important to thee. Do not attract what you will want to exercise later. But Baphomet and Lucifer are seen as dwelling there. Magical goals and confirming the congregants are successes felt to the very hair. It is not enough to just act, but you need to care. Black Mass can be for blasphemy or affirmation. Nudity, particular clothes, and special food show their dark submission. Christianity is completely renounced, and the host faces degradation. The rights of pre-adolescent children should never include sexualization. With cadet for girls, musk for boys, black for the leaders, and white for the adult followers. The newborn is touched upon the head for mark that begun. Effigies are not toys. The death curse is laid upon them, and they are buried in a box, away from the sight of the sun. A pledge is made with a cursing on all who would work against a satanic wedding upon more than fun. It is necessary for sex to be part. Is it necessary for sex to be part of an initiation? The smells of Mars are used for consecration. Ceremony and creeds do not have to be experienced as complication. The corpses are honored and sacrificed by fire's consumption. Red robes are the recalling of the congregation. Jupiter's smells and chants form a concentration. Initiate, external adept, and internal adept are but 3 of the initiations. Which of your experiences are illegal? With the spear above the down-pointing triangle, return to your temple regally. I have been delaying the Okay, I'm not seeing the group chat. I am serious about my plan there. 10 by 10 to as much as 12 by 20. I know where the temple is going to be built. I have a general plan of its coloring, what direction the building is going to face, you know, what each of the sides is going to face. But anyways, one can make things work without a temple. I just can't hold the public meetings that I want. Really. They should be ready to initiate themselves and others in the presence of dark angels in the middle of a full moon night. Their intoxication is towards stepping into dark angles. Soon, a monthly black mass or a council will be confirming of some covens. Teaching and infiltrating are often more valuable than conversions. I know from experience that the Stargate can be opened by invocation. The guardian of the temple, altar person, censer carrier, and keeper of the books are examples of those fit for self-evocation. The averse spirit active evoking is used as the satanic blessing pentagram. There are 16 paths between the 7 planetary spheres, the 12 stages that progress with the waning moon and suggestion towards a crystal tetrahedron. Naos is the sanctuary, comforting and offering euthanization. The Asoth is known outside and inside concentration. Ledagon is as the butterfly before the rider of dreamy vibrations. Maktaron is over the flow as a peacock of menstruation. Atazoth is with the hiding of the initiate as part of the simulation. Davchina takes nature as its lover for help and degradation. Azanagan is with the officer of the cycles in time's manifestation. Apatu is the strength and openness in the occult vision. Velpecula is upon the light blooming before a dark place's decision. Vindex is the conquering spirit of the empty shroud, but the gate of descent remains closed when you don't know its supplication. Sarok Tanos is with the regrets of lust and such as fornication. Noctulius is with those who fly the dark wooded path without derision. Nithra is upon the stars of the tomb, and the image of the Sphinx thou hath taken. Satanas is upon the secret of the beast, nude man, machine, and fully modest woman. Shugara is upon the artful posing that is darkening what was bright again. Nakala sees the baby of the peace of the stars as its aging mother going into the night. Gawath Am is with the heathen who witness the dark bird omen over their place. Karu Samsu overshadows the sun in its bloody dance, and no sense of disgrace. Nemaku is with her who looks up without prancing, but she should know she can't be replaced. Kthana is about the patient and the dark dream master, like a Cthulhu of the outworld's trace. Alastaros is acknowledged as holy 7 times with the Martian cat demon. With speared tail instead of a mace, the conditions of the origination is the cause of cessation. And remember my Beltane rite of last year. You'll see in the meme, and you'll see within the video a selection of these Order of 9 Angle sigilia. Return our feed in the cave, or on a hill after 7 days, where you were prepared. By then, materials are gathered, and the last lots are cast. The knife is above the womb before the full mast of secret fire is risen by the lips of the mistress. Their clothes are dismissed, and the priestess offers a feast before the orgy that results in secrecy. The first Promethean office is the black mass of life, to be said in Latin daily at dawn or dusk by both sexes, or as a rite that is solitary. There are differences in the hymns for holidays, and Satanism Sundays. Well, we can do a counter Islam thing. If Islam would tell people that there's 4 sacred months, a month of observance, and 2 holidays, the 7 days of fasting of Satan would be the first 3 of the 10th month, and the 10th through 13th of the 12th month, instead of the 9th month. And the 9th month would be a month of non-observance. The 1st month, the 7th month, the 11th month, and the 12th month would be unholy months. And to undo the claims of the so-called superstition of the 2nd month, to restore that would probably be like the month of observance in terms of Satanism. Well, that type of Satanism, but anyways. The mystery sees the feminine love as pure, the female mastery as of the highest consciousness, defense as black magic, and the witness is to Baphomet, and the starry as occult. Cyrus, or another star, returns to view each year as they confirm some Christian mythology by blasphemy. Their ways are acted out as they try to manipulate energy. Mabon night or Yule night is a witness to the Dabe and Algol gates on hills between other rocks and volcanic activity. Is Dabe near Venus and after sunset, with the moon before or near it, the greater ideal of me? When will Jupiter and Saturn be near the moon as something I can see for Algol? What is between causal and a causal? Should I be naked atop a hill, or is it enough to be there as soul, to draw down into the worldly whole? Crystals on mica topped oak is supposed to enhance the 9 vibrations of the 9 angles toll. Well, I have in the Namaniakasvama, I have 9 vibrations for me and other people, a lot of other people that I've given them to. Mine are Eher, Heh, Hu, Pamluk, Gun, Nuit, Ks, Ya, Ba. Also, in a temple room, can be the pretend alignment with incantation before sealing in black cloths till what begins with the zoom and sacred kisses ends with the human sacrifice of a priest for a year at will, but again on Litha, his blood will spill. This notification makes it sound like I won't be able to stream unless I get more followers pretty soon, because they're changing the policy, so Google Hangouts isn't going to be able to be used. That's not good. Well, it's okay if you guys get me another few hundred subscribers and I can do my live streams on the go, can I? Also in a temple room can be the pretended alignment with incantation before sealing in black cloths till what begins with the zoom and sacred kisses ends with the human sacrifice of a priest for a year at will, but again on Litha, his blood will spill. Traditions should be able to exist without further glosses. Counterclockwise is seen as not only passive, but as a reflex without empirical implications of the 9 alchemical combinations of salt, mercury, and sulfur upon the clockwise. These are the 9 angles of extroverted feeling type, extrovert intuitive, extrovert thinking, introvert feeling, introvert intuitive, introvert thinking. Master mistress of temple. A master or mistress of temple. Grand master, mistress, magus, or is it Magnus? And Homo Galactia. The 3 points are seen as Saturn and Moon, Mars and Mercury, Jupiter and Venus, and Sun as the top point of the crystal, with or without its sigilia. Now, okay, what are the ranks? Because it's yeah, I'm sure Magus is the rank here. Initiation. I won't delay you too much there. I'm sorry. The 3 points are seen as Saturn and Moon, Mars and Mercury, Jupiter and Venus, and Sun as the top point of the crystal, with or without its sigilia. 7 points on a circle have a couple in the center with their 9 lines about the order of 9 angles, and their acceptance of the union of male and female and a sense of gloria. The spheres are almost Kabbalistic, and the symbols are a pale vision of how to bring them closer. Ceremonies of magic. They're the internal and Sedu, the external. Recreate and capture the causal in merging with the acausal. Planned rites evoke you with the art and science that's spiritual. Ira considers the future nights. Can Satanists become gods and goddesses through their rites? Is the Western tradition out of date in the New Age's light? Do they serve or make themselves an embodiment of the force of Satan in their fight? Discover the secrets of nature in the tight forms of ritual. Transform in accordance to your principles. Archetypes can be seen as metaphysical egregores or something actually spiritual. Can you synthesize differences as you progress in levels? Black masses access energy from other paths with your will. People do not need egregores, nor exegesis. Or then, the left-hand path alone will spill. Apologetics may cease to be a productive lot. Epistemic oppression should be about being your own individual. Truth and good are not a bazaar in which to invent or pick and choose a tale. Are the personified deities really humans to start with, or demons towards hell? Grimoires of the future express methods of reality beyond traditional. The order of 9 angles sees the vernal equinox, last half of April the last half of May, the summer solstice, the first half of August, the vernal equinox, early November, the winter solstice, and the last of January, are beginning of February, as gathering times towards the galactical. There may be more than inherent sacred places, but made ones, paths, and people become spiritual. What is sent of text may be mutable, but that of one's own path is cardinal, fixed if preserved, and ordinal. Howard Phillips Lovecraft did have spiritual experiences, but the 59 and unnamed in his fiction are pretty much representational. Then there are others who expounded on the nominal. 8,000 years ago and further back is when some believe something like that was physical. Do we continue to know them by accepted and forced disturbance that is psychological? And so we look before the book, Nos, and that was in the first couple hundred here. There's initiate names to consider that they would look at. There are so it can be very, very, very important to have a initiate name as a person engages in spiritual practices, something that can set you apart. It's not always necessary. Ceremony magic's dur and sedur, yeah. But it's certainly a stimulus for some people, and I have and will give names. Those who are open to it, when they appear on my channel, they can get their own spiritual name. And I'm particularly open to anybody with a bigger following than me because I'm trying to get the message out. But also complete unknowns will find themselves mistress, master. Okay, what's the full set of ranks? You see, there's a much bigger book version, O and A Bible that has been compiled. So tempo grades. Corrigus, or Choregos. Oh, okay. Somebody appointing. Thanks. Invocation. Okay, I want to know what the organizing the grades, self-initiation, satanic chants or Orion splendor. There's general chants, invocation of Baphomet. Now, when it comes to the human sacrifice mentioned there, what do you think a symbolic thing like that would be? A 22-year-old once every 17 years? In a way, I practice that without the physical human sacrifice, you can say. The 17 daily upon a variety of 22. So keeping these things ripe in one's life. I am not. Yeah, the grade's got to be. The grade's got to be the Magus. Magus has got to be the last one. But I shouldn't rattle on. I should keep to the thing. Naos, a practical guide to modern magic. Can life be self-contained by such traditional sources as Naos, a practical guide to modern magic? It may only bring strife to obscure the teachings and practice of magic. Which ways of the internal, external, and personal are the most practical in magic? Thorold West has his preferences in the septenary magic. Can magicians believe the empirical world is complete in terms of their senses? Even if they don't, they can work between the spiritual and this world's fences. If you have achieved crystallization, you have lived out a life as a full initiate on the path. Then it is on the dissolution, confrontation, or separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, and coagulation. The order of 9 angles supposes the acceptance of metaphysical entities before the lunar initiation. A sigil like unto that for Nemeku, and one made in the blood of their left thumb for Vindix, is made in the presence of Kivit perfume and lunar elements for the sunset ritual. I have my own sunset ritual, or at least the readings, or at least some of the readings from that. The paper is shown to the west, south, and east, and north before the visual and the natural water is disposal. Oh, before the visual and the natural water disposal. Nox, Lucifer, Hriliu, Lux, Azith, Azoth, and Chaos are the words for the rites of the moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. For when you are comfortable, the workings of shamans, ceremonies, trance, and the sexual, oracles and dance, sacrifices, and the star game are seen as transference from the unconscious to the ego, to the self as something real. Your standard Celtic crosses and the septenary are typical tarot layouts for the order of 9 angles, septenary as in 6 around the central bit, kind of like the head and shoulders and pelvis and elbows. And knees, yeah. Well, the one shoulder and the elbows and the knee and the hands and the knees on the pelvis, yeah. Either make your own or command the making of your own tarot deck. The court cards are High Priest, High Priestess, Warrior, and maiden instead of the usual. Wands are yellow as salt, black as mercury, and blue as sulfur. But overall, it is mercurial. Swords are orange, gold, and red. It is seen as solar. Chalices are green, white, and silver. In your head, are they Venusian? Pentacles are green, merging into violet, purple, and blue. Why are they a lunar reflection of the rest upon a tetrahedron? The four high priests are bearded men going barefoot with a cloak and staff among mountains and wolves. The four high priestesses are beautiful women, robed and bearing fruit, upon an earthy throne with leopards in a glade. The four warriors are young, naked men holding swords on horses with eagles in the desert. Trust me, you want properly covered in the desert. Well, but it depends on how hot the desert is, right? But whether desert or woods, yeah, you kind of want to protect your body. Four maidens are young naked women carrying crescent moons near water, altars, and owls. Knowledge and wisdom can come forth in droves. Potential and suggestion is not all spades. Strength and courage can be in an introvert. Youthful desire and pleasure does not have to earn scowls. Aces suggest wood, stabbing with Orion, overflowing to trees, and four-sided crystals with stars. Without scars, the 21 images of the numbered triumphs, of the numbered triumphal procession are preceded by the fool. Then comes the magician, the high priestess, mistress of earth, lord of earth, the master, the lovers, Azoth, change, the hermit, weird, desire, the hanged man, death, hell, Lucifer, the tower, the star, the moon, the sun, and the ion, for the order of 9 angles. Is the second initiation cool with you? During the new moon, dedication of pleasure and potential is made to Lucifer. With the crystal held by the woman, our receiver, the initial sex performed is oral. After coitus are the like. They dress and train towards a goal. An external adept must be willing to learn or construct the likeness of a star game for the sake of his soul. Be honest as you are playing or laying with your head in the east, in the desert outside Cairo, or in an unobstructed view of the darkening night sky as a whole. Two work through the planetary spheres in the same way to fill the whole. Naos, Deneb, Regel, Mira, and Rares, Arcturus, and Cyrus are the black 9, and white 9 squared boards. For the right brain thinking. Okay. 27 combats 27 on what might be ascending with hazel, yew, black popper, oak, alder, beech, and ash, spiraling. 10 of salt, 19 mercury, and 20 of sulfur are in my exalting. 11, 3, and 5 are in my fermenting. 1, 4, and 9 are in my sublimating. 7, 12, and 5 are in my putrefying. 6, 14, and 17 are when I am coagulating. 0, 8, and 16 are in my separating. 18, 15, and 13 are in my calcinating. 6 versus 6 salts. 3 versus 3. 6 versus 6 mercuries, like the salt of Sirius. Nothing. The last 3 mercuries, like the salt of Arcturus. 6 sulfur versus 6 sulfur. And last, 3 sulfur. As the salt of Arcturus will be when we are no longer descending. Predetermine the goal of Mira's patterning. Like a 3-dimensional chess, it has meaning for energy and what you are becoming. Move away from you and up through each stargate's dwelling, around 400 years for each of the 9 types places, around 2390 Era Vulgaris, as the Western Ions culling. After your understanding, can you live alone for 3 months or so to become an internal adept? It's interesting, just like Joseph Smith, something you're not going to live to, or something you probably won't live to, as being, oh, this is when the age is going to shift. It's like, well, we're not going to be around to see it. So after your understanding, can you live alone for 3 months or so to become an internal adept? Can you live on the land and your savings? Learn the natural timings and Ostara. Arlitha is preferred for starting this retreating. Then comes the master or mistress of the temple, stopping only once at night within 80 miles of walking from sunrise to 2 sunsets later, and then bathing. Between the planetary spheres of the sun and Mars will be the abyss you will be diving into. Whatever comes with that chaos upon the 4-sided crystal will be put to accounting. The ancient Egyptians used a crook and seher, evil magic, playing with the jinn, that sort of thing, to describe internal playing with the fire beings. But here, But here is concerned with external bolt of seher's evil magic. So, internal, external. Seher's evil magic. Learn to vibrate sounds long and quick. Chants are typically monophonic. Viridian, Lydia, Hypoviridian, or Ionian, Hypolydian, Mixolydian, Hypodorian, or Aeolian, and Dorian are the second, first, third, seventh, and eighth, fifth, sixth, and fourth modes of what doesn't have to be monotonic. Keberi, Lucifer. Elefrades, Alanos, Alastros, Baphomet, and Vindex is a rising of music. 7 is above 6, is diagonal from 5, which is above 4, which goes diagonally up to 3, which is above 2, which goes diagonally right to 1, which starts down and across to next to 6. Incense of henbane. Civet, civet, musk, oak, sandalwood, sulfur, and petre or core are offered at the points, whether or not it is like a hex. Chaos, wisdom and wealth, destruction and sacrifice, vision and understanding, ecstasy and love, indulgence and transformation, and terror and sinister knowledge are all types that do not require sex. Will drugs take your trance states and unpredictability through the mire? Some say that clockwise circles symbolize arrogance, but it can, sire, the evoking. Concentrate on the formed and unformed, or what you are invoking. Noctulius, Satan, Darkat, Karu Samsu, Shugara, Davchina, and Vindex may be all you are symbolizing. Patterns do not have to be set, but some will represent success in their sexualizing. Are homosexual rights the more powerful from these settings? Or is the Uranian to Sapphic ascendancy just their own sense of self-aggrandizing? Sympathetic or model magic extends to more relevant representing. Then comes analyzing to become better at being empathic. With the signs and words, the order of 9 angles gives new names to the dark paths of Klepoth-like workings. Moon to Mercury has Noctulius. Moon to Venus has Nithra and Budsturga. Moon to Mars has Shugara. Moon to Sun has Shaitan. Moon to Jupiter has Asath. Moon to Saturn has Azanagan and Darkat. If possible, they start with washing. Mercury to Venus as Nakala and Darkat. Mercury to Sun as Ga Wath-Am. Mercury to Mars as Benan Ath. Mercury to Jupiter as Ledagon and Sapanur. Mercury to Saturn has Abitu and Athushir. Athushir. They do not, they deem the best times as before dawn or in the evening. Dawn, on average, is an hour and a half before sunrise. And evening is between, of course, sunrise and dusk. I mean, sunset and dusk is the evening, of course. Venus to Sun has Karu Samsu. Venus to Mars has Nemaku. Venus to Jupiter has Maktaron and Gaubni. Venus to Saturn as Valpecula. Valpecula? Repeatedly, and even according to musical annotation, is the vibrating. Sun to Mars has Kthna. Sun to Jupiter has Atazoth. Sun to Saturn has Vindex. Then comes the increase of speed in circling. Mars to Jupiter has Davcina. Mars to Saturn has Sauroktonos. 9 is the sacred number of the times, and towards the north is bowing. Jupiter to Saturn as Naos. So we see here, if you look at the Temple of Blood, Drunken Covenant, Lilith Society, some other ones that are spin-offs of the Order of Nine Angles, as you could call them, watching this video will certainly explain some of those, why I put some of the explanation. Maybe the explanation here will be easier than the references that I'm throwing in my commenter version, which of course gives me religious freedom, that I'm making versions of things and comments on things. I'm not copying the works, but I am crediting that, I'm having ideas around work and I'm throwing other pieces of information from elsewhere. And anyways, 15, 13, 18, 12, 15, 13, 18, 7, 14, 10, 8, 0, 1, 11, 16, 6, 17, 2, 19, 4, 5, 12, 3, 9, and 20 are the typical order, but I have used 17 to 53 degrees east of north for my main orienting. It varies where in the world would be my main orienting, but so XV, XIII, XV, III, VII, XIV, XV, III, O, I, XI, XVI, VI, XVII, II, XIX, IV, XII, III, IX, and XX are the typical order, but I have used, facing Mecca as my main orientation, is the points of collective ceremonies to stop your controlling. At the very least, stop your worrying. Why would the wheel of life reorganize the zodiac signs with the Nordic year starting mid-Aries and then going Taurus, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Leo, Virgo, and the part of Aries before Yule. Western style winter as Venus and priestess, spring as priest and sun, summer as moon and master of the temple, and fall as Mercury. and Mistress Earth makes as much sense as each season being its element of water, of fire, and the next being that element of the former element, depending of what is attributed to each, determines its alignment in time. Experiencing the four elements and the three modes is sublime. Dimensions and linear time gives way to causal modes of the cyclical. The conceptions of the inspired and revealed nature of prophets is the azoth, from which derives the initiations. Life is the external preparation of the abyss's transformations. Tarot is developmental practice of alchemy. The star game of a less randomizing approach to transcending psychology. Archetypes are only a limited grasp of something beyond structure. The psyche is like the reality that may be hidden of our nature. The ego is the present aperture of the self. The weird is realized in your becoming with some help. Futhar Guhani Jaifas Sat Bamlando, or the elder Futhark. They see as symbolizing animals, strength, Loki and night, Odin, movement, fire, gift, laughter, and mean, thunder, ice, year and time, sorcery, moon, defense and life, sun, Thor, earth is a goddess, war and strife, family and kin, water, the folkland, and day as categorical forms. G major and trapezoids, E minor and tetrahedrons, F sharp and pyramid, D minor and cube, C major and octahedron, B flat and isosahedron, A flat and dodecahedron are seen as earth, air, water, fire, salt, mercury, and sulfur forms. What if C, G, D, A, E, oh, I'm not getting it right. But anyways, C, G, D, A, E, F, me, F sharp, C sharp, A flat, E flat, B flat. Yeah, I really don't have the right tone with that, but are there as bright red, orange, yellow, viridian green, blue, dark red, indigo, violet, purple, black, xanthan yellow, and Tyrian purple? Why must the internal adept gain a detailed mastery and understanding of the star game instead of being mellow about it? Why must a magister temple make what is deemed to be a significant addition to human art or science to be treated as having that rank in magic? Spiritual language and abstraction in general gets the individuals what they need to know. Become as the genus heads are the fates of sitting in just past, present, or future tense. Reflexes can be changed or gone beyond. Ritual is a means of rearranging to relive, in part or wholly, through techniques one might teach beyond duality. Know the hidden knowledge from the symbols. Die as an artificially limited individual. 90 move on 308 as the causal and a causal with the advance star games pool. Sulfur of sulfur moves to any blank space, but salt of salt can only make it one level. The former can capture something of an opposite color from the os to another board. Mercury can move on two levels. What is the difference between psychological and magical? Many say it is only the intention that is spiritual. When does it become necessary to make it violent or sexual? Is the path away from God practical? Correspondence is start in the traditional. The stages of development are put to grade rituals. Does alchemy work as celestial, terrestrial, or infernal? A sinister individual dedicates themselves when alone, but to lead a congregation is their material goal. Appendixes. Ourselves and the mind that operates the body can become a reacting ground for what are treated as the dark gods. But it is more than archetypal symbolism and can be present from earth towards the Beh, the As, Algol, and other places that are physical. The abyss invades or accepts those who choose to become vulnerable. Klepoth, actually, there's the Hebrew pronunciation is th, but the Aramea is th, right? And systems of other paths are denigrated in their claims of spiritual light to counteract the darkness and unseen they see as immoral. The path about beyond good and evil is the left-hand path, and it seeks the phenomenal. Who is the order of 9 angles to officiate what magical paths are genuine Satanism? Yeah, who are they, right? Who are they to say, these people aren't really satanic? It's like, Satanism is a variety of beliefs and practices. Thank you very much. The septenary system is about the multiplication principle without reference to angels. The principles of Saturn are linked to Moon, Jupiter to Mercury, and Mars to Venus. Do the ages of man churn from horns and shamanism to the sun and henges, to dragons with trance states and sacrifices, to eagles with oracles and dances, to stars and ritual, to sigils with the star game and things we know not of yet? The important thing is the unseen and seen merge in the mythological. Gnomes are of metaphysical earth. Sylphs, yeah, are of metaphysical air. Salamanders are of metaphysical fire. Remember the Joseph Smith account where he refers to the being as a salamander. This is exactly what he's talking about. Undines are of the metaphysical water. These are the Fari, which are elemental. Quartz, opal, emerald, amethyst, ruby, amber, and diamond are examples of stones on the ascent for you. The distance and type of stars and constellations is important enough, but I still wonder why blue is of the moon and Mars, but not Jupiter. Symbols and diagrams are tools to build visualizations upon, and memorizations will lead to no magical objects being needed. Oil, handmade paper, candles, pens, incense, and the implements. But sundown on a full moon never seems to come soon enough. Natural water is for full ablutions, for the hermetic initiation ritual. Noctulius is the subject of silent vigil. 3 vibrations comes, and bleeding for the marking of the Vendex sigil seal. The flag for the sunset, midday sunrise, and midnight. Direction is finalized. With the raising of hands in an attempt to draw a cone of power from the sighted moon into the symbolically formed whole. Now, let me show the book again. There are other materials that you can find elsewhere. Let me see if I can get it to see if anybody commented on the stream here. What is this? Screen share, chat. Okay, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. That doesn't mean there's not chat available elsewhere. Okay, master. There's the grades. So where are the grades? The 9 points of the creed. I've gone over stuff like that. So remember to try to make your, whatever path you pick, whether it's learning or something else, your initiations should be a progressive thing. And of course, I mean progressive in the sense of, you go through the movements, but you experience and you progress yourself as you go along in more ways than just performing the physical or mental feats that are called for. External adapt, star game, variations. Okay, they're degrees. Sorcery. Here's the chance. Okay, there's got to be the listing of the degrees here, because hidden knowledge, less indulgent, love, enchantment, prophecy, revelations, death, destruction, wealth, success, chaos, disruption. Levels of the sphere, symbols of the tarot suit. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. So yeah, I'm sure it's Magus. Magnus would be magnified. That would make sense too, but Magus would be it. So hail and farewell.